Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Apophis and our journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 5th round of the 1967 season, the French Grand Prix. It was held on the 2nd of July at the Le Start circuit. It had 15 entries, all of them took part in the race, with 9 ending up retiring. The race consisted of 80 laps completed in 2 hours, 13 minutes and 21 seconds. Graham Hill started the race from pole but retired on lap 14 due to a broken differential. Brabham started second. Gurney was third on the grid, but retired on lap 41 thanks to a fuel leak. Clark started fourth and retired on lap 24 with a broken differential as well. McLaren was fifth on the grid but retired on lap 27 due to a failed ignition. And Denny Hulme started the race from sixth. With Hill out of the race, Brabham took the lead and won the French Grand Prix from Hulme, who moved up from sixth and finished 49.5 seconds after Brabham. Stewart moved from 10th to 3rd, he was 1 lap down. Siffert climbed from 11th to 4th, he was 3 laps down. Irwin moved up from 9th to 5th and retired on lap 76 after an engine blowout, but since he managed to complete more than 90% of race distance, he was still classified in 5th. And rounding off the top 6 was Pedro Rodriguez, who started from 13th, he was 4 laps down. The fastest man of the race was Graham Hill, posting a time of 1 minute 36.7 seconds. Welcome to the exciting Le Mans circuit, where a lap starts off with a long run down into turn 1, a fast open right-hander. That leads into turn 2, a tight 180-degree right-hand hairpin. Turn 3 is next, a medium-speed 180-degree left-hander, which leads into turn 4, another tight 180-degree right-hand hairpin. From here we move on into turn 5, a high-speed left-hand sweeper, which leads into turn 6, a medium-speed right-hander, followed by turn 7, a medium-speed left-hander, which leads into turn 8, a slow right-hander that brings us around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Le Mans circuit. And here we are in qualifying, coming around to set our first flying lap, a 151.018, and we see a bunch of cars all over the circuit. Not much we can do about that except try to improve our time, because we are very far off the pace as we come around to improve a little bit, a 149.223. Unfortunately, that was the fastest I could go, even though I tried to go faster than this, I really couldn't. So that's pretty much it for qualifying, as we now take a look at the previous French Grand Prix winners. Last time we won here was a very long time ago. It wasn't in the past 10 seasons, so hopefully we'll do well today, who knows. As we take a look at the grid lineup, we have Denny Hulme on pole with Surtees in second, Brabham third, fourth is Mike Spence, followed by Chris Irwin in fifth, and Jim Clark rounding off the top six. There, I managed to say that. Dan Gurney is 7th, Pedro Rodriguez 8th, 9th Chris Amon, Joe Siffert is 10th, 11th is Bruce McLaren, 12th is Jock Conrad, followed by Jackie Stewart in 13th, 14th is Epi Vaitzes, 15th is Graham Hill, followed by Pierce Carriage in 16th. In 17th is Mike Parks, 18th is Guy Ligier, followed by Bob Anderson down in 19th. Then in 20th we have Ludovico Scarfiotti, followed by Joe Bonnier in 21st. 22nd is Sam Tingle, Jonathan Williams 23rd, 24th Jackie X. John Love is 25th, followed by David Hobbs in 26th. 27th is Andy Hicks, 28th David Hobbs, Dave Charlton 29th, 30th is Lucky Botha, Jean-Pierre Beltois is 31st, and Johnny Servos-Gavin is 32nd. So that is a great lineup for the French Grand Prix, and hopefully, again, this is going to be a good race for us. Not quite sure yet, but we will surely find out. And we are off for the French Grand Prix here at Le Mans. A very glamorous circuit, a very important circuit, especially the longer endurance layout, but today we are racing on the shorter Bugatti layout. As we come through turn 1, we managed to climb up into second place already, which is quite good as we now race towards turn 2. Hopefully we'll be able to snag a couple more positions. Break after Hobbs, trying to outbrake Hobbs more or less, but didn't quite work that way. I was also trying to be quite careful not to crash into anyone. I don't want to damage my car. at least not this early on in the game, in the race. If I can help it, not at all, as we take another look at the start. Quite a decent initial launch. I tried to get around a couple of cars, but initially I got boxed in, but then as we came through into turn 1, I finally got enough space to maneuver around, and we managed to snag a couple of positions, and hopefully we'll be able to slowly climb up the field as we now move on to lap 2nd, as Joe Bonnier cuts the track there and moves up into 22nd, dropping us down to 23rd. Obviously that's kind of naughty of him, but what can you do, as we take a look at a replay of Jackie X coming through this left-hander. He flips his car upside down and he's pretty much out of the race. He's actually reversing a little bit and then driving into the wall, because that's kind of normal, I guess. And here is a replay of Dan Gurney coming through the final corner of the circuit, and he flips the car upside down and obviously is out of the race. And here we are coming around to finish lap 2. Bob Anderson managed to overtake us for a brief second, but as we come out of the final corner, we have a good drive and we regain that position, and we come up on Joe Bonnier, who is going very slowly through turn 1, and we are now in 21st. As we come through turn 1 once again, we move up into 20th, as Joe Bonnier was having problems. He went wide, it seems, but he didn't retire yet, at least. We're now on lap 3 here, and Joe Bonnier once again cuts the track and gets in front of us. And here is a replay of John Love coming into turn 2, sorry, and flipping his car upside down, and he is out of the race. Towards the end of lap 3, Jackie Stewart managed to overtake us for a brief second, but I easily regained that position, and now following up on Joe Bonnier and Pierce Courage, who are very slow coming into turn 1 and 2. However, Pierce Courage kind of moves in front of me, flips his car upside down, and I'm pretty sure he retired there. Yes, indeed, here is a replay coming into turn 2. He somehow flips his car upside down and is out of the race. And here is a replay of John Surtees doing the same thing just a few seconds later. So turn 2 apparently is not a good turn for the AI, as I managed to overtake Bonnier for 18th now here on lap 4. Trying to get away from Bonnier as quickly as possible. That would be very nice. However, I can't really shake him off as we come through this right-hander. He overtakes me, so does Jackie Stewart. However, Jackie Stewart is a little bit slow. Actually, Joe Bonnier is slow as well, and we move back into 18th. However, I have a feeling that we'll lose that position. Yes, we do, as Joe Bonnier once again overtakes us through that right-hander. As we now come into final corner, I go very wide. That allows Stewart to overtake us as well. So does Beltois and Anderson. However, they are both slow out of the corner, and we manage to overtake them. Then I overtake Stewart as well, and eventually Joe Bonnier, because for some reason they are slow on this section of the track. Lap 6 now, and coming out of turn 2, Joe Bonnier overtakes us once again. So I try to go for another maneuver on the inside, and we are back up in 18th. However, only for a brief second, as Bonnier overtakes us on the outside coming through turn 4 here. Lap 8, and coming through turn 1, we overtake Joe Bonnier once again, as Bruce McLaren retires from the race, so we should move up into 18th soon enough, as Joe Bonnier is trying desperately to get around us, and he does find a way to squeeze his way through, but not for long, as we regain 16th. And here's a replay of Bruce McLaren coming into turn 2. Again, somehow flips his car upside down, and he is also out of the race. And here comes Chris Amon doing the exact same thing. Not quite sure what's wrong with this circuit, or rather this corner, but obviously the AI doesn't really like going through there. Towards the end of lap 8, Joe Bonnier once again managed to overtake us, and Jackie Stewart also overtakes us, almost flips his car in doing so, but he is somehow through. as we now drop down to 18th and start lap 10 now. And Jochen Rindt is out of the race as well, so we move up into 17th, chasing after Joe Bonnier at this moment. And we have a replay of Rindt, who does pretty much exactly the same thing as everyone else did through turn 2, so not much of a surprise there, I guess, anymore. And here is a replay of Mike Spence coming around to set the fastest lap of the race, so congratulations to him. Did quite well. Obviously, this could be considered a track record, although it's not really worth keeping in mind because we will never return to the circuit, unfortunately, as we now move on to lap 11, and Graham Hill is now out of the race as well. And judging by the corner, he probably flipped his car upside down, and here is a replay, and of course he flipped his car upside down because that's normal. That's how low center of gravity works. You flip the car even at these slow speeds. Anyway, lap 14, and Denny Holm is also out of the race, and here we have a replay of that. Well, what can I say really about that? There's nothing really. Anyway, we move on to lap 14, and Pedro Rodriguez manages to overtake us. However, only for a brief moment as we regain 14th as we come through turn 2, and Epivaitis retires as well, and here is a replay of that coming through a left-hander. At least he's not, he didn't flip his car through turn 2 there, but he pulls over to the side and he is out. Not quite sure why, probably a suspension problem. Still lap 15 here, and Pedro Rodriguez once again overtakes us, so we drop down to 14th. But that doesn't last for long as we come through turn 1 and overtake Rodriguez once again. And then coming through turn 4, still on lap 16, I go wide, get a blue flag, and Pedro Rodriguez once again overtakes us, so we drop down to 14th again. We now skip to lap 17 as I go very wide through turn 5 there. Not quite sure what was going through my head. I was trying to floor it, but that doesn't work. You have to lift a little bit going into that corner, and here is a replay of Pierre Beltois flipping his car in through turn 2 because that's normal, and here is a replay of Lucky Bossa doing the exact same thing. So yeah, that's how things go in this race, I guess. Pretty much everyone does that, almost everyone at least, as we now move on to lap 22, and here is a replay of Servos Gavin coming through turn 1. He turns into the wall for whatever reason, climbs up on it, probably damages his suspension, and that is the end of his race. I'm not quite sure why he decided to do that, but oh well. Anyway, we move on to lap 23, and Jim Clark is now out of the race as well, as we come up on a lapped car, I believe, not quite sure. And here is a replay of Jim Clark. We see smoke coming out of his engine. However, he couldn't stop himself flipping his car up. Anyway, so whatever. Lap 23, and Mike Parks is now out of the race as well. Although we have a replay of Bob Anderson first coming into the pits to retire, thanks to a gearbox problem, as we see him slowly crawl towards his pit box. And that is the end of his race. And now here's a replay of Mike Parks coming into turn 2, obviously flipping his car upside down, and well, that is that. And look at that, that really almost looks like a graveyard. And here's a replay of Mike Fisher coming through this right-hander. He pulls off to the side of the track. Not quite sure what's happening because we're looking at whatever this is. Anyway, Fisher is out of the race, and that was the final retirement of the race, as we now come around to finish lap 24, still in 12th place. I wasn't able to catch back up to Pedro Rodriguez, not that it mattered, as we now come around lap 27. Our final lap as Mike Spence crosses the line to finish the race and win the French Grand Prix, so congratulations to him. Here is a replay of Spence coming around to win the French Grand Prix. Once again, congratulations to Mike Spence, and I believe, yes, in fact, he did also post the fastest lap of the race, so that's a double congratulations, I guess, as we ourselves come around now to finish the race in 12th. Could have been better, obviously, for us, but could have been worse as well. Irwin finishes 2nd, Brabham 3rd, 4th, Joseph 5th, Jonathan Williams, Guy Ligier 6th. We are down in 12th. And here are all the retirements. 18 people returned this race. Most of them flipped in turn 2 here, and I think we'll kind of be able to see all the cars. Yeah, look at that. That looks like a car graveyard there. So that was quite an interesting race, to say the least. But anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 155th Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 16 pole positions, has set 29 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 98 races, 76 of them in the points, has won 44 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 6 in Monaco, has 8 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 517 points, has retired 57 times, has experienced 3,276 out of 4,066 laps, has 7 bronze trophies, 16 silver trophies, 44 gold trophies, and as an extension, 44 podiums. And here is a quick look at the championship standings. Jack Brabham moves into the lead of the Drivers' Championship with Chris Irwin in 2nd, Graham Hill 3rd, Pedro Rodriguez 4th, Jackie Stewart, David Hobbs, and Mike Spence fighting for 5th. The last person to score points is Denny Holm down in 18th, and bringing up the bottom of the driver standings is Richie Ginther down in 34th. So that is pretty much for the drivers. Let's now move on to the constructors. And here we have Rec Parnell moving into the lead of the constructors with Owen Racing in 2nd, Brabham 3rd, Team Lotus 4th, Cooper 5th, and Scuderia Ferrari are 6th. The last team to score points are Guy Ligier in 10th, and bringing up the bottom of the constructors are Lucky Bossa down in 20th. So that was the French Grand Prix. Quite an interesting race. We managed to finish it somehow. More than half the field retired, and most of them flipped through turn 2, which is very, very interesting to me. I have no idea how that could even happen with cars that have such low center of gravity. That really shouldn't happen, not that easily anyway. But yeah, what else can I say about that? Not much really. So yeah, let's move on. Our next race is the British Grand Prix at Silverstone this season, so that's going to be quite interesting. Silverstone is a very good circuit in my opinion, so it should lend itself for a good race. And obviously the British Grand Prix is a very important race in the season, not only for the British drivers and the British teams, but for everyone. It's quite an important win for a lot of people, so hopefully we'll manage to do well there. Score points, perhaps, maybe. Although I shouldn't say that, because I said that before the Belgian Grand Prix and look where that led us to. So shouldn't do that. I probably jinxed myself again, so whoops, I guess. But that is the end of this video. Not much more to add to any of this other than that was a weird race. It really was. So yeah, don't forget to vote for next season's team. Link is in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.